Hello, I am Sophie welcome back to my channel, and welcome to another little study vlog. This one is a little shorter than usual because we are back with this sort of format that I haven't done in a while, where I basically filmed my entire week without chatty bits, and I am here with the voiceover to give you context of what's happening. Essentially, this video covers a little over a week in which I was studying for 4 exams, all of which I had in 4 days in a row. So, first of all, of course, we had to take a little trip to the coffee shop. Here I was doing some notes for one of my physics classes, and as you can see in the time lapse, I took a huge break in this study session to draw, because that's smart, and obviously the impending exam doom had yet to set in. However, on Halloween Day, I did make up for it, because 1, I didn't feel that great. I was still sort of sick, and in all honesty, I had nothing better to do. My exams also began the week after Halloween, so it was really time to lock in. On this day, though, I did my typical 45-15 sprints. I also did skincare during this time. I did a couple face masks. So if you see those on my face, don't worry about that. And then during this study session, I learned that I needed to read a whole other chapter for one of my classes before the exam, and then I promptly started freaking out, and instead of studying, I started stress cleaning. So, that's fun. And then a couple hours later, and a slightly cleaner apartment later, I got over the panic and finally got back to work, reading that chapter that I needed to finish. That weekend, I did end up going home. Halloween was a Friday this year. I spent most of that time trying to get as much of the studying done as I could, because that weekend we were celebrating my dad's birthday. So I was going to be home, and I wasn't going to have a bunch of time to just study on my own. And I went into the next week, the week in which all of my exams were taking place, scared, first and foremost, but with a game plan. Thankfully, I had gotten most of my studying, like the bulk of my studying, done the week before. And also, somewhat thankfully, all 4 of my exams were taking place on different days, and I had Monday free. So I had exams on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, which meant I had one more day to do a bit of crunching, and then my plan, essentially, was to only prioritize one class a day and have that class be the one that had the exam the following day, if that makes sense. And that lunch you guys just saw me make, that I kind of call it like a little charcuterie board because I'm pretentious, I guess. I made that in preparation of knowing that the next day, Monday, I would not be home at all. And so the first day of my exam week began. So I started by heading downtown to a little tea shop, a little tea house, where I promptly ordered a coffee. It was like a pumpkin spice cold brew, and it was delicious. And here I ended up working on making a vocab list, yes, for a math class. So awful. I can't believe I need to make a vocab list for a math class. But that was really the main thing I did at this tea house before heading back to campus to go terrorize the campus library for the rest of the day. I had reserved a study room for that night, but I had maybe an hour and a half before my study room was ready for me. So I killed that time while I was waiting with, you guessed it, studying. And in the rest of this video, I'm a little study room pilled. Like, I'm pretty sure the rest of this video takes place exclusively in different study rooms on campus. But now it is the day of my first exam. I finished my cheat sheet like maybe 15 minutes before my exam started, but I did low-key crush that test. And right after that, we went straight into a different study room. Here, I pretty much only studied for my computer science class because, like I said, that exam was tomorrow. So I essentially just did some practice coding questions. I copied down the notes from class and everything in order to familiarize myself with all the processes that were going to be mentioned on the exam. Alright, it's the next day though. Just like yesterday, did some last minute studying before I got into the exam hall. But this exam was even easier than the one I took yesterday. I literally finished this exam in like 20 minutes, and afterwards I even had time to go sit and read and just like enjoy myself. It was amazing. Anyways, that night I ended up filling out my study guide for my astronomy exam. This was a godsend because it literally had every topic on it that was going to be on my exam. So as long as I filled out those questions, I was good. I knew it was happening. This exam too was extremely easy. Crushed this exam probably in like 15 minutes. And then once that was done, it was back to the study rooms. And I mean, you probably can't tell from the footage, but on this day, I ended up reserving 3 different study rooms. And at my library, you can reserve a study room for a maximum of 4 hours. So technically, I had 12 hours worth of reserved study rooms. This was my last study day. This was the day before my final exam. So basically, all I was doing was practice problems for this class in order to understand the derivation and the calculation processes for each of the problems that were expected on this exam. And then, after a long day of studying, I made my mark on the study room. I did not draw those Simpson characters. Those were there when I got there. Don't look at those. And then finally, calling it a night. This last exam, I'll be honest, was hard. This one was difficult, but I'm fairly happy with how it turned out. But that is it for my midterms. Again, really short video because I was kind of just passively filming, but I do like this style of video. I think they're silly. I think they're fun. Let me know if you guys are interested in seeing more videos like this, especially one for my final exams. But yeah, I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.